Greetings, adventurers. This is DM Kurt. Uh, this week, no gaming for me, scheduling issues. But last couple of weeks, we played a game called Tales from Distant Stars. My son and I made this, mostly him, and I wanted to bring it to the table. Well, we had a player who says, "Oh, I don't want to learn any new stuff. I don't want to learn any new systems." Okay, fair. How about I? You're familiar with D20, so let's just do D20 simplified. We'll call it that. So I basically made a Shadowdark version. Went pretty well. I mean, the only thing I had to change was the character classes, which I just made one class with some subclasses. Starfleet, not Starfleet, Space Force officer, and your specialty is either pilot or captain or weapons officer, security officer, science officer, medical, whatever. Handful of skills. I know Shadowdark doesn't go into skills so much, but I want to make the different roles, kind of separate. Okay. You are the crew of the United Earth Space Force vessel, the SS Langley, the first of its kind. Faster than light drive and energy shields and lasers and proton torpedoes. Well, torpedoes. Which, the benefit of torpedoes, they ignore energy shields. The penalty, they are a finite resource. Okay, cool. You get a little. You'll have two fighter craft on board. Just imagine it as a P-51 Mustang or an X-wing fighter, however you guys want to envision that. Okay, solid. We have the first mission being a couple of supply vessels on their way to Mars have disappeared. We fueled and readied and loaded two more, and you need to escort them to Mars. 3 ships show up from a other part of the Galactic Union known for being just scalawags, and they demand, "Hey, surrender. We know you're unarmed." We're very well armed. Excuse me. No, you're not. You're just humans. You guys don't even have faster than light or any of that stuff. Just surrender. Ship to ship combat ensues, and this was rather telling. So, initiative in ship to ship starts out with whoever's ship has the best maneuverability has the initiative. Don't roll. Captain, roll a leadership check. Boom, rolls a leadership check. I gave him a moderate difficulty in that you're outnumbered, you've never been in a fight before, but certain crew members, the alien crew members on your ship, recognize these guys as having junk equipment, so that helps to lower the DC. Boom, of course he rolls really high because the guy playing the captain character had put just everything he could into leadership. Makes sense. You're specializing in leadership and taking kind of dumpy roles for everything else. Assuming that you can just run within your role and other party members who are better at other things will take care of other roles. Cool. Rolling much higher than his difficulty, the question came up, hey, I rolled way above. Do I get extra benefit? No. But we should possibly revisit that. So I said, okay, well, rolling above your DC, you get to give advantage through your leadership to another player, whether it's the engineer who repairs damage, you haven't taken any damage yet, your navigator who's going to roll for evasive maneuvers, or your weapons officer. He gives it to weapons officer. Weapons officer gets advantage and just starts just blowing apart. He fires both the main lasers and 2 torpedoes out of the torpedo bays, leading the question. In Shadowdark, nobody ever gets really multiple attacks generally, at least for Space Fleet officers, multiple attacks aren't a thing. So the question is, should I have one guy running all the weapon systems able to just fire all 4 weapons? And can you aim 2 weapons at the same target? Sure, why not? After the weapons officer fires, navigator gets to roll 4 evasive maneuvers. You take your maneuverability, which is in the upper single digits or in the mid teens, depending on what you're driving, add a d6. That's your armor class. And if you roll with advantage, take the better of 2d6. And if you have any bonuses, you get probably 1 or 2 on that. So you can get your adjusted armor class for the round pretty decent. You could be pushing into the high teens. You might be able to make it 20 or so. Last is the engineer. Engineer had nothing to do because he had no damage to repair. Enemy takes their turn. Repeat. Ships are shot out of the sky. Boom. The last one is given the order. Look, we just destroyed 2 out of 3 vessels. You're the last one. Do you wish to surrender? They declined and targeted engine strikes to prevent them from fleeing. And they were taken prisoner. So we got to play out a ship-to-ship combat. And it did not take that long. So the system is sound. Called shots. So the way we have it is, if you shoot at an enemy vessel and your damage is above a certain threshold, you roll on a damage table. And it's based on 3d6 to make a bell curve. The very center of the bell curve is no systems damage, just the hull damage, but not the systems damage. And then getting further towards the ends, the things that are less likely to get hit. They want it targeted towards the engines, if discernible. Yes, the engines are discernible. I just said, okay, called shots, disadvantage to hit. And they've done this in a couple of different ship-to-ship situations. Aim for the engines. So I have to reconsider whether called shots are going to be a thing and whether it can be done back at them, because other things can happen. You can have shots that happen to hit your launch base for your fighters, so you can't launch fighter craft mid battle because there's damage in the launch base, etc. You could strike and damage life support, main power, etc. Weapon systems. Other things can go online. So what we're doing is we're adding that essence where Scotty or O'Brien is trying desperately to repair things mid-combat, and the captain's yelling at him, "Hey, we don't have this, we need this," and he's working, so he has something to do, and there's some suspense in battle as you're receiving damage, your ship is getting less useful, and there is that question of, are we going to blow up? So it actually worked out pretty well. We had that go pretty well with the ship-to-ship. Ran them through that. That's 3 Varys fighters, Conrad, against the initial Langley. We had the ship encounter a derelict vessel floating in space with negligible life support readings, hardly any life on board. And this was a vessel that had been struck with torpedoes bearing basically weaponized parasites. So it was kind of like the face huggers from Aliens were on board, and they're scuttling around, and we had some tense person-on-person, essentially, combat. So it's roll initiative, roll to hit, roll to damage with your weapon, etc., back and forth, etc., until something is resolved. They managed to capture a couple of the little alien creatures and put them into containers, and that's going to go to the medical/science bay for study, because obviously this is biological warfare that has not been seen before. This was something tested on the poor derelict vessel. And of course, just to make sure that it didn't spread, they blew up the derelict vessel. Problem solved. We ran another ship to ship on our second session, where a lesser orb, basically a mini Death Star, just kind of warps into location and starts sending out saucers. Couple of 4 per round. They have, the Langley has 2 Turska class small battleships beside it, alien allies. So the allies attack the, singular ally, I think, attacks the orb, and the Langley deals with the fighter craft because they just don't think they can penetrate the hull of the enemy vessel. And we got to play that back and forth, and it worked. And one thing about this game is, so D20 tests are done with 1 or 2 D20, based on whether you have advantage or disadvantage or neither. And all of the weapons, whether it's personal weapons or whether it's ship-to-ship weapons, use D6s. Now, ship-to-ships use megajoule/mega damage capacity D6s, and personal weapons use just regular D6s. But they're all exploding dice. So the players really enjoyed, I get 3d6, boom. Ooh, I'm going to have another couple of dice. Ooh, and I get another die, boom. And damage can escalate very quickly. And it's not based on whether or not you rolled a d20. You got that natural 20. It's, did you get the d6s? Did you get the 6s on the 6? And boom, boom, boom. It can escalate. So even your weak, laser on your ship can penetrate a powerful energy field if you get lucky. And you might as well pew pew at it and just hope for those lucky shots. So the ship to ship, which I didn't modify from Conrad's writing, that actually worked pretty well. The problem that came up was when you have a specialized character that gets a +10 to his leadership roll, and the difficulties are in the teens, he's going to be nailing leadership rolls like that. And if you get 5 over, 10 over, should you get exceptional results on an ability check? Because if all you do in combat is get a pass-fail, and it's super easy to pass, rolling for that one thing is not going to be very exciting. So what I did was I said, okay, well, if you pass your leadership check, you can gain advantage to one character of your choice. You either give it to the engineer, the weapons officer, or the navigator if you just pass. And if you pass it by a significant amount, like 5 over, pick 2, and if it's like 10 over, just all 3 of them, whatever. So I had to kind of come up with that as an adjustment. But otherwise, the game went well for both sessions. I did have one snafu where on our second session, we were down to the minimum number of players for a quorum. And so I put it out on Discord. Okay, who can show up? Because, so-and-so can't be here. It's down to these 3. Okay, can you 3 all show up? And I was told, hey, no, I can't show up. And that was no quorum. So game canceled. And so I just closed the tab. I said, okay, I guess that's about it. It turned out that it wasn't one of those 3 players saying they couldn't make it. So it's a good thing that I reopened the tab, went back on a Discord, and found out that no, that was somebody else. I can still get a quorum and we can still play. I've taken some steps to not have that problem again. So, other than that, it was pretty much a success. I think I can squeeze another 2 sessions out of this before I kind of run out of material, because what I thought was going to be 1 episode turned out to be only half a game session's worth of material. So, yeah. But other than that, I would say Tales from Distant Stars, sessions 1 and 2 were a success. I did have the captain who sunk all of his skills into leadership and charisma, have to do a obstacle course. And this was, this planet is hemming and hawing as to whether they want to join the Galactic Union. Prove yourself. Run an obstacle course against one of our captains. You prove yourself, not, spout off about the organization. We want to see what you're made of. And so I ran him through dex and strength checks, kind of navigating him through, okay, well, there's this chasm here and you got to run up this hill and it slides down and, thing. And what that was based on a tale of the Salamander's Primarch from Warhammer 40K, when I think it was him and the Emperor shows up as a test and they have to run a thing, and it's one of the combatants in this test falls and is hanging above a chasm where he's probably going to die. Do you win or do you stop and pull your competitor up, knowing he could still beat you in the race? Is he going to fall in the lava or is he going to beat you? And sportsmanship. It was a test of sportsmanship. It wasn't strength and dex. It wasn't physicality. That was the true test. So I just cribbed the notes off of that, yeah. I'm not going to try to make money selling plagiarized crap, but just for running a game session amongst friends, hey, there's a concept. We can use the concept, not the names and the locations and the etc. Otherwise, call it a success, and I look forward to next session. GM Kurt out.